everyone, my name is Chantal Anders and I'm a QHHT practitioner practicing in French and in English in France. I've lived in France since 1994 and I began QHHT in 2013. It's a wonderful modality. I've been practicing several years now and I love to help people connect to this inner part of themselves, that which we call the higher self. My personal journey began with QHHT many years ago, from childhood, before I even heard of QHHT, and it was this sort of search for this bigger part of myself that I always sensed with me, that had all the answers to my questions, and I always felt there was this part of me that I didn't quite have access to, but this part was always giving me signs and information. And I had a great spiritual awakening in 1998. That's 22 years ago now. The time's gone by very quickly, and during this awakening I discovered this connection even stronger, and I began writing through channeling. I began eventually after that, through the years after that, to learn healing modalities. I learned Reiki, I learned crystal healing, I learned all sorts of things. And in 2010 I came across the work of Dolores Cannon, and by then I'd been starting to do my own spiritual work for clients, connecting and guidance readings, information that their soul was trying to communicate to them, looking at the tarot, and also energy healing. And when I came across the work of Dolores, I was very it all resonated very strongly with me, but I was particularly struck by the fact that we can all be guided to have this contact ourselves. So instead of going to a medium or a psychic reader, we can actually, and a healer as well, we can actually connect to this part of you, this bigger part that Dolores Cannon used to call the SC, the subconscious, which is also called the superconscious, the higher self, the soul. You can call it also your inner voice and your intuition. It's all part of this knowing that we are all born with. Eckhart Tolle talks about presence, and how when we realize, you know, in the quiet moments, when we go within and we listen to the silence, we are tapping into this bigger part of ourselves. So this part of ourselves we have contact with all the time, 24 hours a day, while we're driving, while we're washing the dishes. It comes through signs, you know, like we're driving along the road and we see a sign. We open a book, we turn on the television, we watch a film and something comes through. And we're also, when we're in nature, you know, birds and all sorts of animals in nature giving us signs all the time. And I find what's wonderful with this method is you are actually living the experience yourself. And not only does that make it more healing on a deep level because you're living it and experiencing it, it's releasing energy blocks which perhaps connected you to these situations, either past life situations that are affecting your life today, but equally situations that happened in your childhood. So, for example, if you're someone who's had lots of headaches all through your life, in a QHHT session, we might discover that in your childhood there were a lot of arguments and you had a lot of thoughts going through your mind that were sort of constantly, you know, running you down, exhausting you. And then we discovered that in a past life, perhaps you were you had something hit you on the head during the war, or there was a fight in the Middle Ages or something like that. And even that's connected. That situation in the past life's connected to lessons you had to learn. Perhaps there were in that war situation, you found that war situation in your life in childhood, and perhaps those headaches accentuated in your work situation that much more at a certain time period because, again, there were conflicts going on. So we can find out all this information, and when we find this out, we have aha moments where we're connecting the dots. We're saying, oh right, I understand what's going on now, and we get information as well of what we can do to change our direction. Because actually we're all exactly where we should be in life. It is just having a question of confidence. So, for example, you may be feeling, I'm supposed to be quitting my job or relationship, I'm supposed to be moving to another country, or even just staying where you are and expanding in a different way. And so you're getting these signs. Perhaps you're feeling frustrated in your work, but perhaps, you know, you're having fights with certain people. Maybe if you're working for someone else, just things aren't working out either, and they're talking about, you know, getting rid of a load of employees. You know, these uncertain times at the moment, there's a lot of that going on. But these things aren't happening just because of that. They're happening because you've got a bigger plan, a bigger mission for your soul. And, you know, we're going to tap into that and discover it. So a session, normally with QHHT, it's going to last 5 to 6 hours. Sometimes a little less, sometimes more. I like us to have the whole day free, so I like to start fresh early in the morning, about 9 o'clock, because at that time we haven't, neither you or myself had time to had any outdoor influences, i.e., you know, if you've spent the morning driving or working at a part-time job, you know, you're going to have all that in your mind before we start the QHHT. So I say to people, it's good to have take a day holiday off, have the full day. We start at 9 in the morning, and we're going to normally finish by 3 p.m., sometimes at 4 p.m. or even 5 p.m., but normally about 3 p.m. And we start the session by getting to know each other. You know, I you know, want to listen to about your life, your childhood, everything you've gone through. And, you know, you can also ask me questions. You know, perhaps you want to know a bit about, you know, how I work and my beliefs about all this. And in fact, I encourage people to contact me before, so we can, you know, I can explain how the session's going to work, so you can ask me things that maybe you want to know if I'm experienced in. With QHHT, each session is different, so it's very important. You know, most of the time we're coming with a certain idea of what we want to accomplish and heal in our lives during the session. And perhaps, you know, you're going to be shown something completely different from what you were expecting. So the good thing is to just have an open mind and to just say to yourself, I'm going to get what I need to get today. And you will have lots of confirmation of things that you've already been putting into place for a while. So most people say to me, that confirms everything I've been feeling about my life, and that confirms as well that I'm on the right direction, and that to heal these situations, whether it's a physical healing, it could be depression, that I need to take these certain actions, and I'm doing a good job actually. This is, you know, what a lot of people, they realize that, you know, we are all where we're supposed to be. We just need to make maybe a few adjustments, have a lot more confidence in ourselves, you know, because we've come here to this earth, you know, not only to experience challenges, but also to be happy. And I sort of like to look at it like we are, all of us, like plants, and we've come to fructify, you know, to develop and give light and nourishment with people, the earth, everything. You know, we're not just come here like a blob, you know, but perhaps we've had certain experiences in childhood. Perhaps, you know, there have been experiences of depression, illness, loss. And normally when someone comes to a QHHT session, you know, they know already that a lot of these things are at an end, that these things aren't going to continue. They were just there to have an understanding of, and so we go deeper into that during the session. So what happens is, after we talk for a couple hours about your life and what you would like to change in your life, we then, and it's a work we do as a team, you close your eyes. You may feel very awake, okay? Most people do feel awake, but most people have the feeling, you're gonna feel like you're here and not here at the same time. And normally you're much deeper than you realize you are. So it's not hypnosis in the old style, classic, you put someone to sleep. It's nothing like that at all. It's unconscious. So when I say in consciousness, you know, you close your eyes and you're going to start feeling, seeing, hearing things, and we just go along with that. And we let that story or those stories unfold. You may see images from your childhood. Sometimes people from spirit who you knew, such as grandparents or brothers or sisters, are going to come and visit you as well. It's a very beautiful session. And on your list of questions, you can ask all sorts of things. So you can ask about spiritual life mission questions. You can ask about your work, about your relationships with other people. Very often people want to know, why did I choose this family and these situations? Perhaps you've had addiction problems, and we can discover why you have those addiction problems, where they originated from, and how they are a part of your evolution. Because a lot of people that have had addiction, they've actually come here to help other people with addictions. Okay, and also on the list of questions, you can ask other subject questions. So perhaps you have a feeling of having been part of Atlantis when Atlantis was destroyed. Perhaps you have a knowing that you survived during the time of Egypt, during the building of pyramids. You know, those knowings and feelings and curiosity that you have, they're not there just by accident. They're there for a very good reason, and we'll discover that. And then at the end, we ask for a body scan to look at your body, you know, all the organs. Maybe you've got certain health issues, and to discover why you have those health issues. Now, those health issues can be from a past life, but very often at the same time, they're indicating things that are going on in your life right now. So, for example, let's say you've got a problem with your throat. Maybe you've got sore throat, maybe you've got thyroid problems, and perhaps that started, let's say, 5 years ago. And we discover in a past life, perhaps, that in speaking your truth in the past life, you were hung or you were punished in that area. You know, some people were guillotined during the French Revolution. Other people, maybe in a relationship, were strangled. That sounds a bit traumatic, but when we have that information come through, that will release those old energy blocks, and we have so much more understanding of why that happened and what's going on today. So let's say in that example, someone says, yes, well, 5 years ago it really started to bother me, I started having these thyroid problems, and perhaps that's because that was when we discovered, for example, a person says to me, well, that's when I was really starting to stand up for myself in my marriage and to say no. And maybe we discover that this husband, this relationship problem, was the person that strangled her in a past life. So there are many different connections that can happen, and we find out all the answers, and afterwards we have a debriefing. So, you know, you tell me, we talk about all that you've experienced in the session. I go over, you know, the information that's come through, and very often coming out of the trance, people think they remember everything, and then they say, oh my gosh, actually I don't. There's quite a bit I don't remember. And that's because it's like when we wake up in the morning after having had a really intense dream, and as the morning goes by, we've forgotten the fragments of it already, or even in the few minutes after having woken up. So it's a wonderful session, and you're given a recording on a USB stick that you bring to me, or I can send it to you through the WWE transfer afterwards. The sessions are done in person, and in my home. I live near Cahors. It's in the southwest of France, which is actually between Bordeaux and Toulouse. And as I say, most of my clients are French, but I'm receiving more and more English clients. I love working in my own native language as much as I love working in French. You know, I'm bilingual now, so both languages I'm very comfortable. And if you would like to have more information or just have a chat with me, please contact me through my website, which is, if you go to Chantal Anders on Google, it will come up with my French website, and it will come up with my English website. So go into either, and obviously most people who are listening to this video you're going to be English. So if you come into my French website, soinmessageunivers.com, there's a link to read in English at the top and the bottom of my website. So you just click on it, you come through, and there's my phone number and all my details if you prefer to write me an email. I also have on my website all the explanation, and if you would like any more information, please contact me. Thank you for your time. I hope you're having I know times are difficult now, but I hope you're enjoying this summer as you can and benefiting from, you know, the good weather and this more quiet time in life. Okay, so thank you.